Footballer heart attacks. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of Realpolitik. Grab your stein of coffee because I want to discuss the sad topic of young footballers and healthy footballers having heart attacks. Now, if you've been following the Twitter sphere, you'll see footage like this gentleman here having heart attacks in the middle of a game. Obviously, it's empty, I'm assuming for COVID. But as they rush to him, and you're seeing it again and again. Here, another footballer died. Are we allowed to ask yet? 25, dies of cardiac arrest. Here we have it, footballer Makala Al-Raquiz dies of heart attack in warm-up. December 26th, January 5th. We have one here, January 9th. Another one. This is the same footage. A collapse, January 9th. January 9th. We have here, come on, we'll go a bit further, Jan 10th. So you can see there's a lot of sharing and concern about these heart attacks that are occurring, and people are jumping to conclusions. Average punters are seeing this, jumping to conclusions, thinking, oh, it must be the vaccine that's causing it. Well, that's not how it works. Okay, what I want you to do is to type this search string here, footballer heart attack before 2021st, into Google. And when you do that, everyone, you get a whole bunch of articles. 2018, more young footballers dying of heart problems than thought. Footballer heart attack risk underestimated 2018. Playing football after a heart attack. Croatian footballer Bruno Boba dies of heart attack after struck by ball. 78 minutes in the life of a near death. There you go, guys. Heart attack from 2018. 2015, young Melbourne footballer dies after suffering heart attack on the field. So there's an occurrence of it going before the pandemic, before the vaccine even existed. Now, what you want to look at if the rate of heart attacks have materially increased from those which we would expect to be normal, sadly, for this sport, guys. I think I read somewhere about, some estimate 7 in 100,000 players will suffer this. And the argument is that you're putting extra strain on your heart when you're out there. And these guys may look super fit and healthy, but they could be toffee. You know, thin on the outside, fat on the inside. They could have clots which are causing issues, guys. So let's have a look at this. More young footballers are dying of heart problems than thought. This is from 3 years ago. FA study finds. FA increases the number of screenings for young players after study finds several players died of heart problems not spotted by tests. So the intensity of doing football could bring out these problems. Young footballers are dying from heart problems at a higher rate than was previously thought, according to doctors who oversee the cardiac screening program for the Football Association. Their evaluation of 20 years of screening young footballers at the age of 16 who are on the verge of a professional career also shows that most die about 7 years after a heart check that showed no problems. In the light of findings, the FA has increased the number of cardiac assessments that young footballers are given from 1 to 3 at the ages of 16, 18 and 20. There have been a number of shocking deaths among young footballers, including Cameroon international Marc Vivien Foe, 28, who played in the Premier League. The midfielder collapsed while playing for his country against Colombia in France during the 2003 FIFA Confederates Cup, 2003. An autopsy found he had a hereditary heart condition. Oh, poor guy. In 2012, Boston Wanderers star Fabrice Mamba, 23, had a cardiac arrest on the pitch during the FA Cup tie against Tottenham Hotspur and nearly died. The occasional such tragedy among football players led the FA in 1997 to set up a screening program. The tests are part of a fitness assessment that is mandatory for all academy soccer players from 16 to 17 before they sign a professional contract. The program now has 20 years of comprehensive data. The review of this data was led by Sanjav Sharma, Professor of Inherited Disease and Sports Cardiology at St George University of London and Chair of the Experts Cardiac Committee of the Football Association. He and his team, who have published their results in the New England Journal of Medicine, found a death rate of 1 in 14,700 people, considerably higher than the previously estimated 1 in 50,000 or 1 in 200,000, said Sharma. This was threefold greater than any study has ever reported in the past, and that did surprise us, he said. What surprised us the most was that of the 8 deaths that occurred, 6 had completely normal screens at the age of 16. That was worrying. What it told us firstly was that death rates were higher than had been anticipated, and secondly that a one-off screening at the age of 16, which was what FA was doing, is not enough, and that we would probably have to do a series of assessments if we're going to identify some of these guys, because they died around 7 years after they had been screened. So they need to, this almost needs to be part of their ongoing, yearly physical, you'd imagine. The death of a young athlete is highly tragic when one considers that most deaths are due to congenital electric or structural disease of the heart and are detectable during life. Okay. There you go. Between 1997 and 2016, more than 11,000 players filed in a health questionnaire and were given a physical examination, 12 led ECG and echocardiograph. Of these players, 42, 0.38%, had cardiac disease that could cause sudden cardiac death. Hardly any had symptoms of any sort. Most, 30 out of the 42, had surgery or other treatment for their heart defect and were able to go back to playing football, but the other 20 stopped playing. Some people were disqualified from the sport, so their dreams were taken away from them. You could argue that those people may never have died if they carried on. That could be true, but we don't know that, said Sharma. Sharma is favouring of screening for other athletes as well. Sudden heart-related deaths in young people occur in other sports. MasterChef contestant Matt Campbell, 29. MasterChef? For instance, collapsed and died in his... in the London Marathon. Okay, I thought it during the MasterChef competition. Sharma is a consultant on the board of the charity CRY, Cardiac Risk in the Young, which offers free heart screening. Some argue that screening is a waste of time, he said. A review in the British Medical Journal in 2016 said its efficacy has not been supported by the evidence. Sharma does not agree. If these people are going to be our role model and source of aspiration and inspiration for our youth and expect to push themselves to their limits, I think we should be doing something at least to protect them from sudden death, he said. There you have it, everyone. So, it looks like, at least back in when this article was written in 2018, the research was telling us that this is to do with, essentially, congenital issues, structural disease, congenital electrical or structural disease that can be detected during the athletes' lives. So what should we, when we see footage like this, how should we react, guys? Is it correct to jump to the conclusions that this is the vaccine that's causing this, or is there evidence to show that this issue predates the vaccine? Let's have a bit of a talk. Now, I honestly think this is an issue that predates the vaccine, but people are finally paying attention to it because they're hypersensitive. You've got to be careful that people will use this for their political means to try and get your attention or to steer you away from getting vaccinated. There'll have to be research to see if the number of these deaths are higher than has occurred in the past. If they're significantly and statistically higher, then perhaps it could be an issue. But there's so many environmental issues here that could also come into play. I mean, just think about it. A stress from a year of lockdown, could that have a role to play in heart conditions? We don't know. There's so many variables here. Jumping to conclusions now, well, it's only to be done to instill fear. You need to step back and look at the bigger picture, guys. Don't let people manipulate you for their political purposes or to get you on one side or the other with fear, because that's what this is. I feel sad for these athletes. But the silver lining is this is drawing attention to this issue, and maybe there'll be more calls for heart screening for all of us doing these type of sports. When's the last time you've been checked for these issues, guys? Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and check out this last video I did on the channel here, guys. Have a great day, and I will see you all in the next episode of Realpolitik. I'll enjoy my coffee. It's quite a good one. Oh, you'd hate to be getting that far and then finding this out, wouldn't you?